Okay, here we go, Tom. So, after 3, 1, 2, 3. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Sweet and Salty Movie Review Podcast. This week, I am sweet.
And I am salty.
Hey, salty. How's your week been? Are you having a fun week?
Do you know what? It's been all right. It's not been too bad. I've managed to take a half-day flexi yesterday, so managed to disappear off to a national trust. And yeah, it's going all right. Going all right.
Lazy
I can't
public
complain.
servant that you are.
Well, exactly.
My tax money's paying for you. How dare you take a day off? You should be working more hours. Value for money.
And that's because I was working at 10:30 last night after getting home from the cinema.
Because
that's
what you get for taking a half day.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Well, did you fulfill the challenge I set you last week? Did you manage to watch Roadhouse?
I did indeed. I
Excellent.
went back to the 80s. I managed to get to relive my Patrick Swayze youth and realize there is a huge difference between filming now and what we can get away with and filming in the 80s and what can be got away with.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to it at the end of the podcast. I was just wondering whether or not you'd actually managed to do it. Fantastic. Well,
I did indeed.
Right. So this week we've got Monkey Man. So talking about action movies, our first one up is an action movie. We'll give you a brief overview of that one, let you know if it's worth going to have a watch this weekend. Then we've got our in-depth reviews of Ghostbusters, not the Frozen Empire, sorry, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and Godzilla times Kong New Empire, because it's all about the empires this week. The empires, Tom. The return of the empire. That's what I was doing in India. Let's not go there. Anyway. Right. So, Monkey Man, Tom. What did you think of Monkey Man? What were your thoughts? You seemed happy.
I loved it. Look, and I have to say, my background is Monkey Man. You and I have both been to India.
Just for those that aren't watching the video, I don't think Tom means that he has a background involved in monkeys. He's not a zoologist or anything like that, and he didn't crash as a young child into the jungle and get raised by monkeys. I'm pretty sure that's true, isn't it? He's just talking about his background on his screen.
And I haven't travelled back from the future like Brad Pitt did in 12 Monkeys. No, see, another classic film. We are now going, we're even more down with the kids. We're now putting our contents on YouTube. So as Mark rightly says, my background is now Monkey Man. Every time we review a film, the background changes. Now, you and we have been to India on multiple occasions. So,
indeed,
and we know what the environment's like. We know what the atmosphere's like. We know what the heat
in Delhi and Bangalore, I think. And what was the other city you visited?
I've been to Navi Mumbai. I've been down to Chennai. I've been over to Calcutta. And loved each and every city, and each and every city is vibrant.
It is
the people are amazing. Culture. Yeah, it is brilliant, and it is an experience. So to sit in and we've seen many European and we've seen many American films, and we've even seen some Far East Japanese films as well. And for me, this was Bollywood meets Hollywood. And it was a great movie, and I have to say, rated 18, very much intense from the get-go, but bloody hell, I loved it. It is, it brought home India for me. Like when you see like the tuk-tuks driving along the road, and you see people sleeping on the side of the road in slums or actually on the roadside. And then you see the ultra rich with the Lamborghinis, the Ferraris, the high-rise apartments, the cocaine, the log, everything. And that is India all mixed together.
What was you doing out in India when you visited?
Well, different story.
You're supposed to be visiting TCS, not those sorts of establishments.
Exactly.
Are you recommending this one then?
Oh God, yeah. I have to say, if you want the atmosphere, you want to see this for me, this movie feels like John Wick taken various other action movies all molded into one with the Indian Bollywood theme to it as well. And it also had, you mentioned this last night, it felt like flashbacks to James Bond, like Thunderball movies, where you have characters dressed up in like Oriental warrior gear. It was.
Leave it for next week.
I know.
You're getting into you're so. I can tell you really like it because you want to keep talking about it. So
yeah. This just the bit of background. This is a revenge movie based on what's happened in the past. You are seeing this man's journey in his childhood, what happened to him and his family, and what's happening to him now, and his plans for revenge, and the action, the storyline. It's done by Patel, who did Slumdog Millionaire. So, and again, brought that movie to life as well. And he's done the same with this. So definitely one to see.
Directs and stars in this case, Dev Patel, very talented young man. So a good bet. I should have kicked off with this before I asked your thoughts. So it's essentially described as, the synopsis for this is: a young man ekes out a meager living in an underground fight club where night after night, wearing a gorilla mask, he's beaten bloody by more popular fighters for cash. After years of suppressed rage, he discovers a way to infiltrate the enclave of the city's sinister elite. As his childhood trauma boils over, his mysteriously scarred hands unleash an explosive campaign of retribution to settle the score with the men who took everything from him. That is the synopsis of, basically, take any 80s action movie and you could put that synopsis in it and it would be about right. And this movie answers the question: what would happen if you made an 80s action movie today in India? That's what I think it answers, with a sprinkling of things like, as you say, James Bond and other things thrown in just for good measure. It's really entertaining. It's very bloody. It's very intense. It's very violent. So if you're not into violent movies, this isn't one for you. But if you're into any kind of, martial arts, it's very martial arts focused action. The cast is really talented, and it's a really interesting look at, especially from my point. I was sitting there last night thinking I can see the traits of various action movies here, but you're looking at it from a non-Western side. It's very interesting. You're looking at it from an Asian perspective rather than a Western perspective. So, and I think I'll dive a little bit more into that. And I don't think this is a Indian version of John Wick. I know why you're saying that. And again, I'll dive into that next week as to why I don't quite agree with that. But it's not a million miles off. If you enjoyed the John Wick movies, you'll probably enjoy this because they're very similar.